Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Sunday session of Divine Femininity United. I am your girl, Dr. Bianca Miss B. Lee, and we are here for our brace yourself. This is the final reading of this book, you all. We are done after today with this book. On to our very next book right after this on next Sunday. We always give a little week break of our sessions and things like that between. I'm so excited. What book am I talking about? I am talking about The Greatest Secret. The Greatest Secret, you all. There is a storm happening in my area, so if you see or see any frequency differences or whatever the case, that's what's happening. There's a windstorm. It's raining and things like that happening here. So hopefully it doesn't affect us too bad with the technology, but all is well. All is well. Okay. Alrighty, you all. So this is the book that we're reading, The Greatest Secret. The Greatest Secret, written by Rhonda Byrne. We finished, as I stated every week, we finished her 4-book series on last year, the end of 2023, and we wanted to conclude all of her books by finishing this year, starting this year off with her final book, The Greatest Secret, which has been absolutely amazing, you all. Okay, so just to reiterate, we are airing live, you all, on all platforms. Clubhouse, we are on Facebook, we are on YouTube, and then we always put up clips and things like that, excerpts on all platforms, Instagram, all platforms. Okay, so you all, there's always a way that you can find us. You can, see what we have going on and things like that. Even if it's just if it's not just a book reading, you can follow, my services and counseling and therapy and things like that. You can also follow the planetary transits and whatnot. It's a lot of things that you can follow that I do, that I put out here on every area and every aspect, even in the nonprofit organization. If you want to be a part of that and see how you can be a part of, the work that we do in the community, you can do that too. All of that is available on all platforms that I host. Okay. Alrighty, you all, listen, without further ado, we want to begin our reading for today. We're concluding this book with chapters 11 and 12. Chapter 11 is The World, All is Well. Chapter 12, The End, There is No End. Okay. Already, you all you already know. Utilize the comments, utilize the chat section, utilize. Okay, that's what it's there for you all to be able to give your comments, give your feedback, ask your questions, because we're here reading, hearing, listening, growing, evolving, leveling up together. Okay, so if you have anything, if you hear anything inside of this reading that we're doing and it resonates with you, say so, right? Say so, because you never know. There are people who go back and they watch and listen to these archived segments and things like that, and you may have asked a question that they were probably thinking about. Okay, so be sure to voice your opinion. Be sure to say how you feel. Be sure to say how something resonated with you. Ask your questions or whatever the case. Okay, do that. Don't be shy. Open your mouth or use your keys. All of that good stuff. Okay. Now, with that being said, okay, we're gonna go back to the book, and one thing that I love, and I say this all the time, but one thing that I love about the author Rhonda Byrne is that she always gives summaries. She gives summary bullet points at the end of every chapter that sums up what we have gained in that chapter, right? And so last session, which was this past Tuesday, we read chapter 10. And so I'm going to read the summary of chapter 10 for us, as just to review and refresh our memories on what we just learned. Okay. Point number 1, you are happiness. It is your true nature. Happiness, a never ending wellspring of happiness, is here right now inside of you. Next point, there's no other happiness but the happiness of your true self, awareness. The happiness that you have felt at any time in your life is the happiness of awareness. Okay. Next point, there's nothing better for your life circumstances than you feeling happy. The happier you are, the more effortless is your life. That is so very true, man. The happier you are, the more effortless is your life. Next point, when we seek happiness in the world, our happiness is fleeting. That is so true. Next point, we can enjoy all the wonderful things that we want to be, do, or have in the world. But we can enjoy those things with the full knowledge that the only place to find real, permanent happiness is within us. That's it. That's all. That's it. That is all. Next point, your thoughts determine how you're feeling. So if you're not happy, it's because you're thinking about something you don't want. Why do we do this to ourselves? Why do we do this to ourselves? Why do we think on things that we don't like, that we don't want, that we don't want to have, that we don't want to be around? And we think about these things for what? Because we don't understand the law of attraction. The more we dwell on it, the more we draw it to us. We don't want the stuff, so stop thinking about it, okay? Next point, standing between you and permanent happiness and you and who you really are is one thought. I don't want this. Okay? One thought. The thought of I don't want this. That's what's standing between you and permanent happiness and who you really are. Okay? Simple thought. Next point. When you feel pain or some hurt from a situation, let that hurtful feeling be a wake-up call telling you that right now you are believing negative thoughts that are not true. If you feel hurt or pain about a situation, let that be a wake-up call telling you that you are believing negative thoughts about that situation that are not true. Let it go. Next point. Many of us unintentionally resist being happy. We don't even realize we're doing it. Many of us unintentionally resist being happy. We have done it so much and we've made such a habit out of not being happy or resisting happiness that it's something that is now our habit. We just, unintentionally do that. Next point. Simply by realizing that we've been resisting happiness, we take most of the power out of the suppressed belief that has been causing us to resist happiness. Listen, next point. We don't have to do anything to be happy. Instead, we need to stop doing what we're doing that's making us unhappy. That part. Next point, there's only one thing that causes unhappiness, and that's attachment. Okay, what are you attached to? What mindset are you attached to? Who are you attached to? Where are you attached to? What title are you attached to? Okay, status, all that stuff, right? Next point, attachment comes when we hold on to something for fear of losing it because we believe that we can't be happy without it. Ha, that spoke for itself. Next point. Often our attachments make up the identity of the person we think we are. And we feel that if we dropped our attachments, we would lose our identity. So we cling to our attachments when all along they rob us of our happiness. Come on now. Mm, Under all of that stuff, under all of your status, all of your reputation, all of your image, your brand, all of your title, your money, all of your outfits and shoes and labels, and all of your cars that you drive, and the jewelry that you wear, and the wigs and the hats and all of the things, honey, the Maybelline and the cover girl. Under all of that, who are you? Who are you? The next point, what is actually attached is not you, but your mind. It's the mind that has attachments. Who you really are is not attached to a single thing, not at all. Next point, to free yourself of attachments, all you have to do is just stay as awareness. Stay as awareness more and more, and all of your attachments will drop one by one from you. Next point, you can be happy in this very moment, no matter what is going on around you. Happiness is not something you have to look for or wait for. Simple. It's something that you are. Next point, you can't acquire happiness. You can only be it. If you are happy, you are being your true self. Come on. Next point, if you're not feeling happy, remember to welcome any feeling that isn't happiness and allow it to be present without trying to change it or get rid of it. The only way that you will be able to understand or know what is robbing you of your happiness is if you allow it to come forward so that you can be aware of it now. Okay. Again, it just stated that some of us are unintentionally resisting happiness. Okay. Let the feeling come up. Stop resisting the feeling. Let it come up. Let it do what it's going to do so that you can be aware that this feeling is even here. Okay. Hello, Essence Evolved. Hello, hello, over on Clubhouse. Okay, next point, the last point of last week. The more you welcome unhappy feelings, the more you will feel the happiness of your true self increasing every day. The more you welcome the unhappy feelings, allow yourself to feel whatever this is. Allow yourself to feel it, because when you allow it to come in, you can become more and more aware of what this thing is, and then you'll be able to dissect it. You'll be able to really pinpoint what it is that's bringing this up for you. What thought are you thinking that's causing you to believe that negative thought, that's causing you to feel this unhappy feeling, right? Awareness, awareness, awareness. If we keep resisting it, it's not going to help. It's not going to happen. Matter of fact, Rumi says, the poet Rumi says, whatever we resist, persist. Welcome, Summer. Whatever you resist, persist. Okay? Stop fighting self. Stop fighting self. Allow yourself to your inner selves to reveal to you what's going on, so that you, your higher self, can address it and can heal from it, can remove it, can mitigate it. Okay? That's what you need to do. We are 100% spirit, 100% human. You have to allow the things to show. Allow it. Okay? But keep in mind, yes, we are 100% spirit. Yes, we are 100% man. However, you were first spirit having a human experience. It's not the other way around. So when that human emotion shows up, who you are naturally, who your natural being is, which is your spiritual self, is the one to solve the matter. Don't try to ever do it from your human self, because you will never, ever win. I promise you. Okay. You'll continue to fight. You'll continue to resist. You'll continue to do those things. The answers for you lie in your spiritual self. That's it. Okay. Alrighty. Here we go. Chapter 11. You all, this is the conclusion of this book. Okay. We're chapter 11 and 12. This is the conclusion. So then we'll go to our next book. But chapter 11, this chapter is called The World. All is well. The world. All is well. Juliana of Norwich stated, all shall be well, and all shall be well, and all manner of things shall be well. All right. Anthony DeMello states, all mystics, Catholic, Christian, non-Christian, no matter what their theology, no matter what their religion, are unanimous on one thing, that all is well. All is well. Though everything is a mess, all is well. Strange paradox, to be sure. But tragically, most people never get to see that all is well, because they are asleep. They are having nightmares. Correct. That is so true. You might be thinking, how can everything be well when we look out into the world and see violence, wars, poverty, and destruction? People are fighting each other, attacking each other, arguing with each other, criticizing each other, and threatening each other, causing suffering across the planet. But despite our turbulent history, when sages were asked how everything can possibly be well, they would answer with, because the world is an illusion. Okay. What they mean by that is that the world is not what it appears to be. The world, as we believe it to be, solid and concrete, out there existing separately from us, the only reality, is an illusion. Ramana Maharshi states, there is no doubt whatsoever that the universe is the merest illusion. Okay? We know from science that anything physical is mostly space, that the colors we see are actually the absence of those colors, and the sounds we hear are really a vibration that our brain interprets into sounds through nerve signals. And we know that all the mass of the universe, only 0.005% makes up the electromagnetic spectrum. And what's more, human beings can only perceive a fraction of that percentage. So is the world really what it appears to be? Okay. Deepak Chopra stated, well, I look at the Empire State Building. You look at it. It looks probably the same to you and me. But what does it look like to an insect? with 100 eyes? What does it look like to a snake that can only sense infrared? What does it look like to a bat that only knows the echo of ultrasound? So the Empire State Building, the look of it is a human look. It's not a crocodile look. And you can't assume the human sensory apparatus with its narrow bandwidth of experience is the only reality. Furthermore, you can't explain why the Empire State Building looks like what it is looking like if only photons are coming to your eyes. Hello. Come on here. When we investigate what we have assumed to be reality, we discover that our assumptions are not the facts we thought they were. Deepak Chopra goes on to say, science starts with the assumption that the physical world is real and that matter is real. Now, why that's a problem? Now, why that's a problem is if you're a scientist, what is matter made of? They'll say, well, it's made of molecules. What are molecules made of? Atoms. What are atoms made of? Particles. What are particles made of? Then we get into situations of smaller particles. What are they made of? Well, if they're not being measured as particles, they're waves of probability in mathematical space. Come on. These waves of probability are not a material thing at all. They're just emptiness. And they only show up as particles when they're measured and observed by the mind. Correct. Prime example. And this is something the Spirit showed me too, for my own sake, right? So, in the vacuum cleaner, for those of you all who have a vacuum cleaner that has that window, you know what I mean? That little thing that you detach and empty out or whatever the case. If it's clear and it's empty and it's clean and things before you begin vacuuming, right? You don't see any particles, any dust, anything. All you're doing is vacuuming. So as you go and you start to vacuum in your carpet and those particles are being sucked up into that vacuum cleaner, you then see more and more of those dust particles combined and collected in one location, right? So all of these small, tiny particles are coming together and they're forming this big ball of lint, dust, dirt, whatever. So when you go to take that stuff out of that reservoir, it then can be formed into a shape. But what was it before the shape? It's many, many, many particles, tiny, tiny, tiny dust particles. Okay. So how can we say that the final shape of that ball is an actual solid ball when it's not? It's made up of tiny, tiny particles. That's how we are. It may seem to be matter. It may seem to be a solid ball, but it is not once you break it down. Okay. Now that I learned for myself, I learned, Spirit actually evolved, showed me that. And I was like, you know what? Even ourselves, our human selves is not a solid self at all. We're made of particles. We're made of atoms and molecules and cells and this and the third. And it's all come together. It's all packed together to assume, to be assumed to be a solid. Nothing is solid. Nothing at all is solid, actually. Okay. Now, Robert Lanza states, when you turn from one room to the next, when your animal senses no longer perceive the sounds of the dishwasher, the ticking clock, the smell of a chicken roasting, the kitchen and all its seemingly discrete bits dissolve into nothingness or into waves of probability. With a lineage dating back to the 14th century, the Rose Cross Order describes the material world as nothing but mental phantoms, and most certainly quantum physics confirms what the ancient traditions knew to be true. When I first looked into quantum physics years ago, the research I read said that the room I am sitting in doesn't exist when I walk out of it because the room and everything in it falls back into a wave of probability when not observed. The room only reforms into particles of something solid when I walk back into it and I observe it. I used to have fun turning to walk out of the room and spinning around quickly to try and catch the room coming back into form. That's funny. Not a chance. Robert Lanza states, but before matter can peep forth as a pebble, a snowflake, or even a subatomic particle, it has to be observed by a living creature. This now, you all, we're getting into the brilliance of science, or the brilliance of the creator, to be perfectly honest. Okay, this is what's happening here. Okay, at its deepest level, the entire physical structure of our world and everything in it is nothing more than empty space. So, as Deepak says, is the world physical? But if the world isn't physical, then what is it? All physical manifestation comes from the mind, but it's much deeper than the idea of mind over matter. Matter is mind. Matter is mind. Everything appearing as solid and material, our whole physical world and universe, is actually images projected by the mind. That is something. And we do believe these images, y'all, because we will take on someone else's assumption or what their determination of an image that they saw. We'll take it on as fact. Well, because Socrates said, or because whatever philosophers said this, and so of course it got to be true because this person said it, and so we will literally believe it. We'll write books about it. We'll put it in the school system. We'll it's like, wait, that's that person's view of what they saw. But who's to say that I'm going to see it that same way? Right? That's why you got to study to show yourself approved. Okay. Study is good. It's cool to, bounce ideas and philosophies off of each other, theories and whatever the case. But at the end of the day, how you see it is going to be your truth. Okay. And it don't have to look like and sound like anybody else's. That's the beauty about creativity. You don't have to see things in so many different ways that something can be perceived. Right? Okay. Let's see. All physical manifestation comes from the mind. Okay, matter is mind. All right. All is mind. The universe is mental. He who grasps the truth of the mental nature of the universe is well advanced on the path to mastery. That comes from the Kabbalion. The Kabbalion. Lester Levinson states the world and the universe are a mental concoction. Correct. The world and the universe are a mental concoction. Ramana Maharshi states, even the structure of the atom has been found by the mind. Okay. Francis Lucille says, all manifestation is mind. Yes, it is. It's in the thought first. It's a thought first. We're all sitting in somebody else's thought. I'm sitting on this chair at my desk that someone thought about making this chair. They thought about the design of this chair. They made it. I'm sitting on their thoughts. I'm sitting at the desk that somebody thought of. I'm sitting at someone else's thoughts. I'm reading with my laptop that someone else thought of. I am utilizing someone's thoughts. You see what I'm saying? It all begins with thought. Now, someone else quoted, thought is the primary energy and vibration that emanated from God and is thus the creator of life, electrons, atoms, and all forms of energy. When you gaze out at the vast universe at night, how certain are you that it's outside of you? That's big. Ooh, I'm gonna say that again. Ooh, I felt that. When you gaze out at the vast universe at night, how certain are you that it's outside of you? We now know that any image we see comes from photons of light hitting our retinas, which then gets translated by the brain into an image. Our brain then flips the image and projects it from inside the back of our head. So even on a biological level, we know that what we are seeing is actually within us. Come on, man. Listen, if y'all not getting this and this is not blowing your mind, I don't know what. Golly. Okay, next point. Let me calm down, right? Let me calm down. All righty. When we look at the world, we're not seeing it from outside of us. We're seeing it from inside of us. Our senses that detect the outside world are all experienced inside of us. When you touch something, you feel it from the inside of you, not from the outside. Check for yourself. When someone puts their arms around you, you're seeing them and feeling the sensation of them from inside you. When you hear sounds, you're not hearing them from the outside, but the inside. Okay? But when you move your body, you feel and experience every sensation of movement from inside of you. None of our senses are sensations, or sensations prove that there is a world existing out there and separate from us. Lester Levinson states, we concocted this whole universe and we've forgotten that we've done it. Come on. We've concocted this whole universe and we've forgotten that we've done it. We say it is real and it is separate from me, and all it really is a picture in our mind. The only place where you'll see this world is in your mind. Put your mind to sleep and there's no more world. Don't wake up from sleep and there's no more world ever again. But you are. You are. So there may not be any more world, but there is absolutely a you. Okay? This is mind blowing, you all. This is literally mind blowing. All that you see, from a teaspoon to the sun in the sky, is a projection of the mind, just like a movie projector. Our mind projects the pictures of our world. It's like standing in a 360-degree theater with images above, below, and all around you. With full surround sound, it makes for a very convincing experience. Yes, it does. Francis Lucille states, the world existing as an independent reality is an illusion. Hmm. The world as you see it, a world that appears to exist outside our bodies and independently of us, is an illusion created by the mind. The appearance of things being solid is an illusion created by the mind. The appearance of things being three-dimensional is an illusion created by the mind. The images of the world and our experience of it through our senses is just like the dream world when we're asleep. The contents of your dream and your experience of the dream are entirely mind made, just as your experience of the world when you're awake takes place entirely in your mind. Next quote by Michael James states, knowing that our mind possesses this wonderful power of creation and self deception, is it not reasonable for us to suspect that the body we take to be I and the world we take to be real in our present waking state may in fact be nothing more than a mere imagination or mental projection, just like the body and the world that we are experiencing in a dream? What evidence do we have that the body and world we experience in this waking state are anything other than a creation of our own mind? Hmm. Lester Levinson states, in your imagination, you have written and projected a cinema show of actors, acts, and audiences on a screen and have lost sight of the fact that it is all in your mind. They're building up to something I already know they are. Ooh, and I already know where they're going. The world is made of thoughts and ideas. Lester Levinson states, what we're seeing out there is our own mind. I really want y'all to really pick up what they're putting down. What you're seeing in your life, in your world, is there because it's in your own mind. Deepak Chopra states, everything that we've given a name to, latitude, longitude, Greenwich, meanwhile, nations, meantime, nations, states, stars, galaxies, everything you've given a name to is a human construct. Correct. Good, bad, left, right, up, down, ugly, pretty. It's a human construct. So we've created this world over thousands of years. We are the storytellers. Yep. And then we take on, that's what I'm saying, man. And we take on each other's constructs and then we call it truth. We take it on, we believe it, we live it, we walk it, we talk it, we try to convince others of it. Oh my goodness, man. We are not only creating, we not only created this world through our individual thought and collective thought, but we're creating everything we're experiencing from moment to moment. This is where I knew they were going. Lester Levinson stated, the appearance called the world. The world is only an illusion that we created. Someday you will discover that you created this entire universe, which is nothing but a composite of all of our thoughts. And what is the power that can turn thoughts into an apparent world and universe? It's infinite awareness, the only power there is. Infinite awareness is the one and only power in existence. It has no competition, and you are that. Okay? Ooh, that was powerful, y'all. Next section is all consciousness awareness. All right? Robert Lanza states, the world is not, on the whole, the place described in our school books. For several centuries, starting roughly with the Renaissance, a single mindset about the construct of the cosmos has dominated scientific thought. This model has brought us untold insights into the nature of the universe and countless applications that have transformed every aspect of our lives. But this model is reaching the end of its useful life and needs to be replaced with a radically different paradigm that reflects a deeper reality, one totally ignored until now. Deepak Chopra states, for some inexplicable reason, the most common element in every possible experience, which is consciousness, has kept itself a secret. In his talks, Deepak Chopra raises the two biggest hard problems of science that remain unsolved. Number one, what is the substance of the universe? And number two, where does consciousness come from? They're trying to answer it for sure, but they will never, they will never, ever be able to answer that. Max Planck states, science cannot solve the ultimate mystery of nature. And that is because, in the last analysis, we ourselves are part of nature and therefore part of the mystery that we are trying to solve. We are a part of nature. We ourselves are a part of nature. And so that puts us as a part of the mystery that we are trying to solve. That's funny. While scientists continue to believe in a model of the world that is objective, material, solid, and existing separately from us, they won't find the truth of what the underlying substance of the universe is. But for hundreds of years, sages have known the answer to the biggest unanswered questions of science. Sages. But see, what have they convinced us? What has society convinced us that sages and mystics and, all of the, you know what I'm saying? The conscious collective teachers and all the, what have they convinced us that they are? Witchcraft, black magic, all of that stuff. But therein lies the answers, right? What is the substance of the universe? Consciousness is the substance of the universe. Where does consciousness come from? Consciousness doesn't come from anywhere. Everything comes from consciousness. Consciousness or awareness is infinite. It is everywhere at the same time. So how could it come from anywhere? We know from science that our material universe had a beginning with the Big Bang, which means it must have an end, something that scientists anticipate. With a beginning and an end, that makes our universe finite. And so if it's finite, it must have come from something that is infinite. The universe came out of consciousness, and consciousness, which is infinite, is the very foundation and underlying substance of our universe and everything in it. You are infinite consciousness, infinite awareness, which means that ultimately the universe is you in you. Listen, the universe is you in you. Wow. Rumi states, the whole universe is contained within a single human being, you. You. And that's awesome because look, it's contained in a single human being, which is you and I. which makes you and I one, which means we are one of one, which means we are one. That you, whoever's listening, you get it. You get it in a minute, okay? You get it in a minute. The world, the universe, and everything in it, including your body, are in awareness. They're all sitting in and on awareness. Awareness is omnipresent. It is everywhere. And everything is in it and arises out of it. Awareness is omniscient. It knows everything because it contains everything. Awareness is omnipotent. It is all power because there is no other power than it. Alan Watts states, you, yourself, are the eternal energy, which appears as this universe. Golly, man. If you're hearing this, right, and you're not feeling empowered, like really, really connecting with the you that you are, man, I don't know what to tell you. Okay. When I sit out in my, I've created in my backyard. That's my meditative space. That's where I go. Cold, rain, sleet, it don't matter. That's where I go to connect to ground and things like that. Right. In nature, I can do that anywhere, but in nature is where I go and do that. Um, at night, and I look up and I see the stars. I'll look out and see the stars, not up, but out. I'm looking at myself. That's why there's such a connection there. When I see the trees, the wind is blowing right now. I'm seeing myself. That's why I'm so connected to that, right? When the flowers bloom, I'm seeing myself bloom. When the birds chirp, I'm hearing myself chirp. That is powerful, man. That is powerful. The next section, the world movie. The world movie. When we go to see a movie or watch television, we wouldn't be able to see the pictures if the screen wasn't there. The mind also needs a screen to be able to see the pictures of the world movie that is projecting. And that screen is awareness. The world movie that our mind projects is sitting in and on the screen of awareness, which means that what we call the world is ultimately made up of awareness, the one and only infinite awareness that we are. When the sages say we are one and we are everything, this is what they're referring to. We are absolute everything, absolutely everything, because we are the one awareness within which and upon which everything exists. Sailor Bob Adamson states, so all of this manifestation is really nothing. It is really only that space-like awareness vibrating into patterns, shapes, and forms. Jan Fraser states, the underlying state of consciousness is like the atmosphere in which all these other things take place. The movie screen on which they play, nothing affects it, nothing touches it. Pamela Wilson states, nothing is as it appears to be, and you are not as you appear to be. You only have to look a little deeper and feel a little deeper. Next section, wanting to change the world. Wanting to change the world. Here we go. J. Krishnamurti states, change in society is of secondary importance. That will come about naturally, inevitably, when you as a human being bring about the change in yourself. That is so true. You bring about the change in yourself, you elevate yourself. Once you elevate yourself, you're vibrating higher frequencies. And the more you vibrate higher frequencies, it's going to affect and alter your whole atmosphere. If we all did that collectively, man, oh man, what frequency we'll be in overall across this whole entire existence. Whoa, man. Anthony DeMello states, awareness is what we are. You didn't come to save the world. You came to love the world. Francis Lucille states, you want the world to be different? Let us assume that you were given the power to erase the world as it is and reconstruct it as you would like it to be. No wars, no tyrants, no mosquitoes, no cancer, no pain, and everybody smiles. you would end up with something that is very boring, something with no flavor. Then you start adding a bit of salt and pepper. And at the end, you would be back to where you started, having realized that it was perfect the way that it was. That's so true. While we remain attached to our own beliefs and the belief that we are separate individuals, the world will never be at peace. Billions of egos will always create strife because egos are unstable. They will never agree. But awareness allows for all of it. Awareness allows for the illusion, the false beliefs, the lack of peace, the strife, the suffering, and the wars, because only love allows everything to exist. Your freedom from any suffering doesn't depend on the world coming to peace, but depends on your seeing that you have mistaken yourself for only a person, and on your experiencing yourself as the one and only infinite being. David Bingham states, the infinite being isn't concerned about calamity in the world as it's never affected by any of those things. Say that one more time, Miss B, please, and thank you. David Bingham stated, the infinite being isn't concerned about calamity in the world as it's never affected by any of those things. Lester Levinson states, when you see the world as you, it will look entirely different from what it looked like when it was appeared separate from you. You will love and identify with it and everyone in it. Yep. David Bingham states, as we become more conscious, more love arises. With self-realization, there is a realization that everything is you. So it isn't possible to harm anything. Correct. Correct. I am you and you are me. So if I do anything harmful to you, I'm doing it to me. And if I wouldn't want any of that to happen to me, then why, pray tell, am I doing it to you? Come on. Oh, y'all, this book feels good to me. You hear me? Awareness says yes to absolutely everything. Awareness allows for the freedom of everything to be the way that it is because the world and everything in it is awareness, its own self, our own self. That means there can be nothing to oppose us. No calamity can befall us. No atomic bombs or meteors can destroy us. No lack or limitation can possibly affect us. Because when you boil it right down, all of it is us. And when you have realized your true self and you are resting as that awareness, you will know. No matter how things appear in the world, all is always, always well. Ah, there's a peace in that. There's such a peace in that. Ooh, there's such a peace in that. Okay, on to chapter 12. Chapter 12 is entitled The End. There is no end. The end. There is no end. What if the only thing that we're all so afraid of isn't true? What if there's no such thing as death as we think of it? What if when we die, we wake up? Max Planck states, whence come I and whither go you? Whither go I? Whence come I and whither go I? That is the great unfathomable question, the same for every one of us. Science has no answer to it. Okay? Which whence come I and whither go I means when do I come and when do I go? Okay. Ramana Maharshi stated, the body dies, but the spirit that transcends it cannot be touched by death. Not at all. Not at all. So why do we fear death? Muji states, if you take yourself to be the body and mind only, that you will certainly die. When you discover yourself as unborn and imperishable awareness, the fear of death will trouble you no longer. In fact, this is the death of death, okay? Jan Fraser states, when you wake up, all fear, including the fear of physical death, goes away. This is because what you have turned out to be isn't something that's subject to harm. Not at all. Eckhart Tolle states, death is stripping away of all that is not you. The secret of life is to die before you die and find that there is no death. To die before you die means to bring an end to the mind's delusion that you are just a person. It means to die to the idea of being a person and to realize the infinite awareness that you really are. Only then will you die before you die and discover the truth that there is no death. Muji stated, of all the things human beings can learn in this life, I have the greatest news to tell you, the most beautiful thing to share. You are that which is formless, unchanging, and never dies. Deepak Chopra states, you, your body, mind, and the world that you see are all part of the same virtual reality. You, the real you, is formless consciousness. And once you identify with that, you see every other identity you had as provisional. Whether it's husband or father or son or wife, all these are provisional identities that have a birth and a death, and they keep transforming. They're not real. The only absolute identity you have is infinite, formless, inconceivable being that it morphs itself into any reality based on its constructs. It's the constructs that shapes it. Francis Lucille states, we have forgotten that we are this consciousness and have identified ourselves with objects. We think, I am the body, therefore I am going to die. However, consciousness doesn't find itself in a body. The body appears in consciousness. The mind appears in consciousness. The world appears in consciousness. That is our experience. In spite of this, we superimpose the opposite notion onto our experiences. That consciousness is in the mind, that that the mind is in the body, and that the body is in the world. Mhm. Ramana Maharshi states, you are now thinking that you are the body and therefore confuse yourself with its birth and death. But you are not the body, and you have no birth and death. Deepak Chopra states, so the real answer to death is it's another human construct. If you believe in the physical world, then you have to believe in the death and you have to believe in birth. But understand that you are a formless being, formless, that experiences itself as form. So, right now, that formless being is experiencing itself as a body mind, meaning our spirits are experiencing ourselves as a human. Okay. Sri Punja states, you have agreed that you will die only because you have accepted from someone that you were born. You have agreed that you will die only because you have accepted from someone that you were born. Krishna states, there was never a time when I did not exist, nor you, nor is there any future in which we shall cease to be. It's impossible to imagine not being because you can never not be. If you imagine not being, there's an awareness that you're imagining not being, and there you are, awareness. Okay, Deepak Chopra stated, so when you are a baby, you don't know this is a table or this is a hand or that you have a body. All your experience is a gooey universe with lots of colors, sensations, images, no thoughts yet, just a sense of wonder and confusion. Then we introduce concepts. You're a male, you're American, you're human. That's a star, that's a galaxy, that's the planet Earth. That is how scientific worldview works. So you are suddenly now looking at the world through a filter. Consciousness has become a conditioned mind that is giving you an experience of a physical world and a physical body. And now, because you've constructed this thing in your consciousness, now you're worried about birth and death. These are human concepts. There is no birth, there is no death. There's no physical body, there's no universe. There is consciousness and it's infinite and you're it. Hmm. Joel Goldsmith states, immortality is attained in proportion as personal sense is overcome. As we put off the personal ego and attain the consciousness of our real self, we attain immortality, and that can be achieved here and now. Okay. And somebody else quoted, death is not extinguishing the light. It is only putting out the lamp because the dawn has come. What is it like for somebody who dies? It's the same as waking up after a dream. No different at all. That's true because when we do lay down, that is a form of death. Okay. And when we wake up, that's a form of rebirth. That's a form of resurrection. The teachers tell us emphatically that awareness or consciousness was never born and never dies. That means that when the body ends, awareness and consciousness remain as always, fully aware and fully alive. It's then that you may realize you were never the body because you find yourself to be fully aware and existing like before, except without a body. Awareness doesn't need a body to be aware. When the body ends, there's not a single second that you are not aware, not a trillionth of a second that you don't remain fully aware. You are eternally and infinitely aware, fully and completely alive, with a body or without a body. Robert Lanza stated, consciousness and awareness never began and will never end. When I had this concept, when I got this awareness, you all, years ago, I stopped mourning my son. Those of you all who know, my son passed away. It'll be 13 years, April 24th, right? 13 years ago. And every year around that date, I wouldn't even have to look at a calendar to know that that date was in the vicinity. Okay, because my body, because of programming, because I programmed my body to react in a heavy, depressed, sad, manner. So without, like I said, without looking at the calendar, my body would respond in a sadness, in a grief regarding my son. It wasn't until I got this awareness, until I was aware of this awareness, did I see that my son never died, right? He always have been. But I'm mourning him as if he's gone forever. It wasn't until I got this, I was awakened to this, did I stop mourning my son. I started to enjoy my son exactly for where he is and who he was, which was infinite consciousness. Okay? He never went anywhere. His body may have, but he never went anywhere. And that was the beginning of me changing how I see death as a whole. I no longer mourn people at all. Not at all. I literally celebrate it because that's what we're supposed to do anyway. It's a celebration, a homegoing celebration. They are literally returning back to their infinite awareness. That's it. They're done with the body. The body, they're done utilizing that body. Okay. When I got that, boy, you talking about a release of heaviness and grief and mourning and oh God, it's such a relief. It really is. Eckhart Tolle states, life has no opposite. The opposite of death is birth. Life is eternal. How would your life be different if you actually knew that no one dies? What if you knew with certainty that you and everyone else are the one eternal infinite being? What would life be like for you if you lived with that knowledge, knowing it is the truth? The sages tell us that when we know the truth, life becomes light and full of ease. Exactly. There is a lot of laughter, unbridled love, and total enjoyment of everything that happens. Every moment is savored, and there's an overwhelming appreciation for the wonder and splendor of the manifestation of the world. A deep love and compassion for humanity and every living thing arises. Yes. The sages tell us that we will be unruffled by people or things that used to bother us. Correct. We won't see problems anymore or find things to be serious the way we once thought they were. We will look lightly upon all the comings and goings of the world as though it were a movie that we were watching. And we will be filled with unutterable peace, knowing that despite everything that is happening, there is no end for us or anyone. From the time I discovered the secret, I knew that we couldn't die. Once I understood that there are laws governing our thought and our physical life, like cause and effect, attraction and karma, I knew we had to live beyond this lifetime. Otherwise, what would be the point? How can anyone master the laws of in any one lifetime? Even the Buddha said he lived 500 lifetimes before he realized who he really is. And that's the Buddha. Lester Levinson stated, the feeling I, as you used to use it to mean your individuality, will never ever leave you. The feeling I, as you use it to mean your individuality, will never ever leave you. It expands. What happens as you discover what you are is that you begin to see that others are you, that you are me, that there is only one, that you are now and always have been the one and glorious infinite being. That's right. That's right. That's right. Next section, avatar. Avatar. Uh, David Bingham states, all of this is the game that consciousness is playing, the game of disguising itself, pretending that it is really a person. Rupert Spira states, our essential nature of pure awareness, gains or losses, loses nothing from the entire human adventure. It loses nothing. Having a life on earth is like having an avatar in a computer game. When your body dies in a computer game, you get a new body and you go back into the game with one avatar after another until you finish the game. Some traditions tell us that in our human life, we also get a new body every time we die until we finish the game by waking up and fully realizing who we are, awareness. We've most likely all lived many lifetimes, most likely hundreds and hundreds of them, but it's waking up to the truth that consciousness and the universe delight in, and that makes this lifetime the most important one. Eckhart Tolle states, you are here to enable the divine purpose of the universe to unfold. That is how important you are. Mm-mm-mm. You have to realize the truth for yourself because this can't be given to you. No, it can't. How can anyone give you to you? You are already you. Someone can only point you in the direction of where to look. It's from your own experience that you must realize this, not from anyone's words. Deepak Chopra states, you and the world and the entire universe are modifications of awareness. You and the universe are awareness in motion. Alan Watts states, what you are basically deep, deep down, far, far in is simply the fabric and structure of existence itself. Francis Lucille states, when we truly feel that the universe is us, that there is no separation, that there is this wholeness, then the universe and the events in the world unfold in accordance with this perspective, which is the true perspective. They reveal the sanctity, the holiness of the world. They reveal the permanent miracle. First, it is experienced as a feeling, and later on, it is confirmed by an experience of the world. Next section. This is good, y'all. Man, oh man, oh man. This is mind-blowingly good. Next section. Human being to infinite being. Human being to infinite being. My teacher says that to realize the infinite being that we are is just a decision. There's only one decision maker, and it's you, the infinite being. So therefore, the decision to fully realize who you are is no different from the decision to get a glass of water. You can make the decision. I intend to be fully conscious of my true nature awareness. I intend to fully fulfill my purpose and live my life in the joy of the infinite awareness that I am. I have made the decision to fully realize the eternal, indestructible, pure awareness that I am. Ben Fraser states, take all your wanting, all your restless maneuvering, the entire terrible weight and noise of it, put it in a box and tape it shut. Load the box onto a truck driving away from you and never coming back. There is something left, isn't there? You are still here. You can feel yourself being. Welcome home. Our incredible journey together through this book has been to point you in the direction that will take you from the believing you are only a human being to realizing the infinite being that you truly are. To show you the way from suffering to a life of blissful happiness and peace, and to free you from hurt, upset, anxiety, worry, and problems, so that you instead exist in the continuous happiness of awareness. Your true self, awareness, is the only permanence in existence. Everything else comes and goes, appears and disappears. But you are the one that never came and never goes. Awareness is the one that is aware of every second of your life experience, yet instead affected or yet isn't affected or harmed by it, and welcomes everything in it. Peter Russell states, we are living through the most exciting, challenging, and most critical time in human history. Never before has so much been possible, and never before has so much been at stake. Mm. Through the words of the aware being shared in this book, you have begun to wake up. And no matter where you go from here, that can never be lost. Where before the mind's elaborate illusion might have been seamless, now there is a tear in its fabric. That tear can never seal completely, leaving your mind in the darkness of ignorance again. Awareness, the infinite being that you are, will ensure that the fabric of illusion will continue to tear until the truth is fully revealed and realized, and you are finally reunited as your true self. Esther Levinson states, when we take one step toward the self, it takes 9 steps towards us. Some people may wake up on the spot while reading this book, but for most of us, it seems to be a journey of awakening. While you continue to let go of negative feelings and beliefs and continue to practice staying as awareness the best you can, awareness will keep expanding within you. Eventually, awareness will expand so much within you that you will recognize that the whole universe and everything in it is contained in you. It's a journey to nowhere, and there's nowhere for you to go. You are already everything that you're looking for right here, right now. As Rupert Spears says, there's nowhere to go. Just try and take a step toward yourself. You can't do it. The infinite being that you are is present right now. If you don't realize it fully yet, it's simply that your mind has convinced you that you're a person. But that is changing right now. David Bingham states, when the self has been realized, we can never go back to not knowing what it is. That is so true. We can, however, choose to become absorbed in individuality again. Watch the mind, because it will try to tell you all kinds of things like, you don't want this. It could be boring being awareness all the time. Let's go out and meet up with Tom for some fun. Of course, fun is good too. And who you really are delights in fun. When you are living as your true self, which is awareness, you'll still have fun and meet up with Tom. In fact, as awareness, you will have even more fun than you've ever had. You will laugh a lot. You will do all the things you did before. The only difference is that you will do everything in continuous happiness and peace with no fear, worry, stress, or sadness. Bougie states, even if you became an astronaut and discovered unknown galaxies, it would not be as great as discovering your own self right here on Earth. That's so true. I want you to understand that the infinite being that you are is the you that you feel yourself to be right now. There isn't another version of you that you have to become first in order to be the infinite being. When I first made this discovery, I was looking for another version of me for quite a long time until I realized that it's the infinite being who is the one who is aware through my body right now. Pamela Wilson stated, you are divine. It's time to start being that. Quit pretending you're not. Come on. Ooh, that's a word. Pamela Wilson stated, you are divine. It's time to start being that. Quit pretending you're not. Come on, man. Man. Next section says, who are you? Who are you? That's the question that I ask all new clients. Any new client that comes my way to get services from me, the first conversation always begins with, who are you? Do you know who you are? And depending on their answer, that's going to determine what direction we go in their sessions. Lester Levinson stated, we are all gods acting like goddamn fools. I love it. Lester Levinson said, we are all gods acting like goddamn fools. That is so funny. Okay. The only purpose in life, the sole purpose, is to be the totality of who we are. It is our secret intention, and we will knock off any props we think are necessary to achieve our purpose. Marriages, houses, loved ones, even if that prop is the body itself. Come on. When marriages end, or we lose loved ones, or things seem to fall apart in our lives, we may suffer a lot. But very often it's through our suffering that we begin to wonder what life is all about. Many of the enlightened sages have gone through immense suffering, and it was their suffering that led them to question life intensely, and which ultimately led them to the truth of who they are. It can be difficult in the midst of suffering to even consider that the suffering you are going through is leading you to something wondrous. But indeed, for many, their suffering has led them right into the paradise of their own very own self. That is so true. Jen Fraser states how suffering becomes a door to peace, how pain is a trap door that, if stood fully upon, opens. I'm sorry. How suffering becomes a door to peace, how pain is a trap door that, if stood fully upon, opens under the terrible weight of full acceptance. How the very things we think are obstacles to peace are windows, and on the other side of the windows are our peaceful selves. How, if we do not get this, the obstacles will keep coming and keep coming. How we pull them to us like iron filings to a magnet, filings to a magnet. How powerful is a human being? How little we know this. How the not knowing is the greatest obstacle of all, correct? But now you know. Uji states, you are eternally yourself. The rest is only a dream. This is why true self discovery is called awakening. It's only a dream, is the truth behind everything you see and experience. This discovery does not mean that when a person is struggling due to difficult circumstances that you will lack compassion. However, when you know the truth, the serenity and peace emanating from you will surround them, comfort them, and penetrate them without any need for words. When you know that all is well, no matter what, you are finally free from any notion of negativity, and your presence will soothe others tremendously in their suffering. It is claimed that one individual who is living fully as infinite awareness counteracts the negativity of millions and millions of people, such as the power of the pure love of awareness. This is an excerpt from The Secret. She stated, you are God in a physical body. You are spirit in the flesh. You are eternal life expressing itself as you. You are a cosmic being. You are all power. You are all wisdom. You are all intelligence. You are perfection. You are magnificence. You are the space like awareness that's holding planet Earth, the sun, stars, galaxy, and the universe in place. You are the substratum of existence. You keep trying to go left or right or outward, but the answer to everything is who you really are. And everything in the world is pointing you back to yourself. L. Dwoskin states, nothing and no one can complete you. You are already whole and complete exactly as you right here and now, as you are right here and now. Rumi states, by God, when you see your beauty, you will be the idol of yourself. Come on. By God, when you see your beauty, you will be the idol of yourself. Jan Fraser states, all you have to do is discover what you've already got. That is why it's called realization. You realize what is already there, what has been there right along. For as long as human beings have inhabited planet Earth, they've been asking the same three questions. Who am I? Where did I come from? Where do I go to? The answer to all three is awareness, awareness, and awareness. Next quote states, from bliss, all beings are born. In bliss, they live. To bliss, they return. Welcome home to the place you never left. Welcome home to the place you never left. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Muji states, don't worry about anything at all. You are not here by accident. This form is just a costume for a while. But the one who is behind the costume, this one is eternal. You must know this. If you know this and trust this, you don't have to worry about anything. Then Fraser states, what happened to me can happen to you. You may not believe it is possible to become free, to cease suffering, to have joy running like a warm stream beneath every day, no matter what the day brings you. But I'm here to tell you it is possible. With your mind stilled, the infinite being that you are, who knows everything, is in charge. Mhm. When you are permanently being who you are, consciousness, awareness, you will receive the answer to every single question you have. Every desire you've ever had will be fulfilled. You will have complete clarity. You will never suffer again from confusion or uncertainty. We're supposed to function completely from intuition. The moment you act from the intuition that you are, your life will be beautiful. All suffering can end for you right now, right here. Awareness is your way out of all suffering. It is your key to immortality and a life of laughter, joy, sheer abundance, beauty, and bliss. Muji stated, the light of one human being who discovers the truth has been lightening human existence for thousands of years, lighting human existence for thousands of years. Such is the power of a human being who realizes the truth of who they are. Francis Lucille states, there were people who were not widely known in their lifetimes who nonetheless exerted a great influence for good. There were many more whose names are not found in the historical record, although they have been forgotten. The intelligence and love that they released into the world is still reaching us. Yes, it is. Our true gift to the world is to be a source of love and clarity, and to recognize that to be this source, one has to know oneself intimately. Mhm. Lester Levinson stated, one individual with nothing but love can stand up against the entire world because this love is so powerful. This love is nothing but the self. This love is God. There's only one source of perfection, and that source is you. When you see love anywhere in the world, realize it is you. When you behold a beautiful sunset, know the beauty you behold is you. When you notice happiness anywhere in the world, recognize it is you. Where there is laughter, know that it is the endless joy of you shining through. When you look out at the spectacular myriad of life forms in the world, know that the life that is breathing them in this infinite being is this infinite being, and that is also you. There's nothing else in existence but the glory of the one and only infinite being, the true self, pure awareness, consciousness, and it is you. Ultimately, every moment and every circumstance of your life is pointing you to home, to awareness. When anything hurts you in life, without exception, it's a wake up call telling you you're going in the wrong direction. You're believing something that isn't true. We are the prodigal son. At times, we've staggered. We've been bruised and beaten. We've been scarred. We've scared. We've been scared. We've suffered. And we've fallen down many times. But the end for all of us is to realize, to remember, and to recognize who we truly are: eternal awareness. And that there is no end for any of us. This is the simple but wondrous truth that has been known by so few. This is the greatest secret. And she ends it with by saying, no end, instead of the end, no end. That is awesome, man. Oh my goodness, you all. More and more and more and more, as we should, right? Become more and more aware of our awareness of who we truly are, you all. Because oftentimes, especially with the influence of society, it's so many images and so many things that are flaunted in front of us, and we're comparing ourselves to ourselves, and we have this jealousy, and we got this envy, all of this stuff that's going on, when number one, none of it is true. All of it is illusion, and it's all coming from your perception, your human perception, and it's also stemming from you not knowing who you are. Because if you truly knew who you were, again, none of that, how somebody else is living, what they're driving, the status they have, and how they look, and the money they got, it wouldn't have any bearings on you whatsoever, because you know who you are. You know what you are. You know that you are. You know infinite. You know that you're an infinite being. You know that, you are breath, you are life, you are nature, you are existence, you are all things. So why are you jealous of somebody in their car? It's asinine when you think about it. Why are you jealous of someone in their hairstyle? Why are you jealous of someone in who they're dating? It's asinine. When you are all things, you are infinite. You are infinite. Are you kidding me? You are the stars. You are the moon. You are the planets. You are the galaxy. You are the sun. You are the sky. You are the clouds. And you are upset because somebody got more money than you, that you think of, that you could, and that you assume. Okay. Come on, man. Ooh, that is the absence of knowing. When we operate in those energies, that is the absence of knowing who we are. The absence of knowing who we are. All right, here are the summaries. Chapter 11 summary. Point number 1, the world as we believe it to be, solid and concrete, out there, existing separately from us. The only reality is an illusion. Next point, at its deepest level, the entire physical structure of our world and everything in it is nothing more than empty space. Next point, matter is mind. Everything appearing as solid and material, our whole physical world and universe, is actually images projected by the mind. Next point, the contents of your dream and your experience of the dream are entirely mind made, just as your experience of the world when you're awake takes place entirely in your mind. Next point, the power that can turn thoughts into an apparent universe is infinite awareness, the only power that there is. Next point, the universe came out of consciousness, and consciousness, which is infinite, is the very foundation and underlying substance of our universe and everything in it. Next point, the world, the universe, and everything in it, including your body, are in awareness. They are all sitting in and on awareness. Next point, while we remain attached to our own beliefs and the belief that we are separate individuals, the world will never be at peace. Billions of egos will always create strife. Correct. Next point, your freedom from any suffering doesn't depend on the world coming to peace. It depends on you, on your seeing that you have mistaken yourself for only a person, and on your experiencing yourself as the one and only infinite being. Next point, awareness says yes to absolutely everything. Allowing, 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 allowing. Whatever occurs, allow it to occur. Allow it to take place. Awareness allows for the freedom of everything to be the way that it is, because the world and everything in it is awareness, its own self. Last point of chapter 11, no matter how things appear in the world, all is always, always well. Everything is. It doesn't matter what's happening, the calamity, the noise, the wars, the government, and who's voting for who, and that matters not. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, all is, has been, and will continue to be well. Okay, the bullet points for chapter 12. Here we go. There is no such thing as death as we think of it. The body dies, but the spirit cannot be touched by death. Next point. To die before you die means to die to the idea of being a person and to realize the infinite awareness that you really are. Next point. When the body ends, awareness and consciousness remain as always, fully aware and fully alive. Next point. When we know the truth, life becomes light and full of ease. There is a lot of laughter, unbridled love, and total enjoyment of everything that happens. A deep love and compassion arise for humanity and every living thing. Next point. Your real self is the only permanence in existence. Everything else comes and goes, appears and disappears. Next point. Having a life on earth is like having an avatar in a computer game. In our human life, we also get a new body every time we die until we finish the game by waking up and fully realizing who we are. Awareness. Next point. As your true self, you will have even more fun than you've had ever before. You will do all the things you did before. The only difference is that you will do everything in continuous happiness and peace. Next point. The only purpose in life is to be the totality of who we are. Next point. Very often it's through our sufferings that we begin to wonder what life is all about. For many, their sufferings had led them right into the paradise of their own self. Yep. Next point. When you know that all is well, no matter what, you are finally free from any notion of negativity, and your presence will soothe others tremendously in their suffering. Come on. Next point. Awareness is your way out of all suffering. It is your key to immortality and a life of laughter, joy, abundance, beauty, and bliss. Next point. When you see love anywhere in the world, realize it is you. Recognize yourself. Realize that it's you. Come on. Next point. When anything hurts you in life, without exception, it's a wake up call telling you you're going in the wrong direction. You're believing something that is not true. The last point. The end for all of us is to realize, to remember, and to recognize who we truly are, which is eternal awareness. Okay. Um, she has here, these are the greatest secret practices. There's an affirmation in here that says, I intend to be fully conscious of my true nature, awareness. I intend to fulfill my purpose and live my life in the joy of the infinite awareness that I am. I have made the decision to be the eternal, indestructible, pure awareness that I am. Mm, 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 mm. Yes, ma'am, honey. There's some practices here that you can, if you have the book, you could absolutely go and utilize that. To cultivate, so that you can align with who you truly are. Because there is absolutely a separation here, man, that we see so evidently in this world. There are no problems, nothing, there are no problems. There are no such things as problems. What there is, though, is a bunch of mistaken identities, though. Okay. Because we're believing that we're one thing when we're not. Okay. We're believing that we're attached to this, things that we're attached to in this human life. We're believing that this stuff is us and this is real. And this is what's happening in my life and my this and my that. And woe is me and da 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 da. We're believing these things and these are lies. That's the problem. We are believing the thoughts that we're thinking. We're believing what the mind is telling us to think. And as soon as you believe that, you start to go into the direction of that. You start to feel the feelings of that. And then your body physically shows demonstration. It shows the results of you believing the lies. When you realize with your real eyes who you truly are, and you stand in that, and you operate as that, then anytime that you see a quote unquote problem, you see it as an opportunity to show up as yourself. Okay. Jen Fraser closes the book by saying, whatever comes your way, this causeless joy will hold. Whatever comes your way. All right. That was amazing, you all. That was absolutely amazing, you all. So next Sunday, we are going into the book. This comes from one of my mentors, one of my brethren, in awareness. And this is it's Apostle Wayne Clapp. He introduced this book to me, and it's called The Power of Intention. The Power of Intention by Wayne W. Dyer. The Power of Intention. If you want that ebook, let me know. I told you it's only a $5 seed into the organization Divine Femininity United. The Power of Intention. We're going to start that book on next Sunday. I always give you a week off to kind of recoup, kind of meditate, go over some of the notes from the previous book. And you know what I mean? So next Sunday, we will begin a new book. I'm excited, you all. This book right here, though, that we just finished, The Greatest Secret. For those who do not have The Greatest Secret and you want that book, let me know. I'll get that book over to you now that we're completed. I'll get that book over to you so you can read it at your own time, your own leisure. And get back to yourself, huh? Return home. Like she said, welcome home. Welcome home, a place you never left. Welcome home to a place you never left. Yikes, man. That is so, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna release y'all so I can go and sit with this. Ooh, come on. And somebody, I forget what person quoted this, but they said, listen, was it Rumi? No. It was somebody that quoted this and said, when you realize who you are, you will idolize yourself. You will be talking about when you see other couples, you see relationship goals and body goals and hair goals. No. The only goals that I have is mine. Hello. That part. Okay. Come on here. You will be your own idol. You will be your own idol. You will become your very best friend because you'll connect with you. You're connecting to you. All things that are you, which is infinite things, infinite being, infinite awareness, infinite love, infinite joy, infinite peace, infinite. Come on here. How could you not be your best friend in that state, knowing who you are? What? Oh, man. Self-love should be at an all-time high. Okay, you all. I quit. I'm going to leave it alone. I'm going to let you go sit with yourself. Become reacquainted with yourself, remembering and recognizing self. All right. And we will be back here on Sunday next week. This is Divine Femininity United, you all. I am your girl, Dr. Bianca Miss B. Lee. And I love you. I mean it. There's absolutely positively nothing you can do about it. Don't you even try it. We'll be back here next Sunday, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here at Divine Femininity United. Peace. Thank you.